Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dr. Sarah-Lise Cloutier. I am a senior consultant with BeMo Academic Consulting. Today, we're going to be talking about how to get into UCLA Medical School, otherwise also known as Geffen School of Medicine. So thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you. Let's take a moment and talk about who we are. So BeMo is the North America's leader in academic consulting. We study and research admissions. We also love helping students achieve their academic and career goals. We're a big company with admission experts from around the globe. We also help hundreds of students reach their academic and career goals, and in particular, hundreds of students getting into medical school every year. So BeMo does not endorse or affiliate with any universities, colleges, or official test administrators, and the presentation today has been recently developed, and all the data provided is from either the university website itself or medical school admission requirements. Today, we're going to show you what you need to do to get accepted into UCLA Med School or Geffen School of Medicine. Okay, what does it take to get into this School of Medicine? So we're primarily going to be talking to you about the competencies that you want to highlight in your application, so that way you can be successful. We're going to go through a number of different slides today, talking about the mission statement and core values, the curriculum, research, graduation competencies, admission statistics, which everyone is always very interested in, matriculant demographics, the GPA and MCAT scores, prerequisite courses, the application process, cost of attending UCLA Med School, and contact information. So we have a lot of information to go through, so let's get started. Okay. So UCLA School of Medicine is located in Los Angeles, California, USA. And it was first established in 1946 with the first graduating class in 1955. Okay? It's also a public university. So let's take a moment and discuss what this means. So the major difference between public universities and private colleges lies in how they are funded. This affects students because funding is tied to tuition prices. Most public universities and colleges are founded by state governments and give residents the opportunity to receive public college education. Today, state governments pay for most of the cost of operating public universities. They also oversee the institutions through appointed boards and trustees. This influx of public money is why tuition is lower at a public university. The real cost of an attendance is subsidized. Money raised from tuition doesn't need to cover all of the public college's expenses, such as paying for faculty members or faculty. Meanwhile, so private colleges don't receive funds from state legislators. They heavily rely on tuition and private contributions. This means that tuition rates are generally higher. Okay, UCLA is also a leader and is internationally recognized for medical education, research, patient care, and public service. Okay, so the faculty of the Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA seeks to prepare our graduates for distinguished careers in clinical practice, teaching, research, and public service. They recognize that medical school is but one phase in a physician's education. And so they strive to create an environment in which students are prepared for a future whereby scientific knowledge, societal values, and human needs are ever changing. Okay. In this regard, the faculty and the students actively collaborate to build a strong foundation that is built upon an enthusiasm for lifelong learning, a commitment to humanistic, compassionate, and ethical care of the individual and family, skills in effective communication and commitment to education, including teaching students, colleagues, patients, and the community, ongoing development of a broad and flexible base of knowledge and skills that integrates clinical, basic, social, and behavior sciences with the art of medicine, an understanding of the scientific method, and an appreciation of its application to clinical practice as well as to research. A commitment to promote the health and well-being of the community and an understanding of the special challenges and requirements of a diverse society. The ability to lead their chosen fields in settings of rapidly changing technology and societal needs. And lastly, the ability to address complex societal and medical issues through a systematic, multidisciplinary, and collaborative approach. Let's move on to what UCLA School of Medicine provides as their mission statement and core values. These are very important to note because it shows you what the school wants to highlight in your educational career. So starting with the mission statement, UCLA School of Medicine wants to create world leaders in health and science. They want to discover the basis for health and cures for disease. They want to optimize health through community partnerships and heal humankind one patient at a time. And their core values lie in excellence and integrity, discovery and innovation, service and respect, teamwork and compassion. So let's take a moment here and reflect on what we just learned through the mission statement and the core values. When you're putting together applications to go to UCLA, it's probably a good idea that you highlight their core values. You want to highlight that you can demonstrate excellence, integrity, discovery, innovation, respect, teamwork, compassion. So when you're thinking about putting together your applications, regardless of what phase you're in, whether you're in high school, whether you're in first year of university, second, third, you want to be able to engage in activities, if you haven't already, that show aspects of teamwork and compassion, for example. Use the university's mission statements and core values to drive your application. That is one means to a successful acceptance. Let's move on to talk about the curriculum that UCLA School of Medicine provides. Their curriculum is divided into 3 phases. The first phase being human biology and disease. This block is a block-based curriculum for years 1 and 2 that has been designed to increase the integration of normal human biology with disease processes and clinical skills from the first week of medical school and onward. Basic science is taught in the context of its application with planned reiteration. Okay, so the second phase is about clinical curriculum. It's the core clinical clerkships. So phase 2, the third year, begins with a 2-week course, being clinical foundations, which is focused on the basics of clinical care, including a review of the physical examination, basic cardiac life support, otherwise known as BCLS, basic radiology, write-ups, and presentations, with an emphasis on professionalism and ethical standards. Clinical Foundations is then followed by a 48-week of core clerkships, each of which includes an orientation period to prepare students with the clinical skills needed for the specific rotation. The last phase of this curriculum that UCLA School of Medicine offers is phase 3. It's the fourth-year colleges. Faculty members and students interested in common career activities are grouped into academic colleges based on different approaches to clinical reasoning and diagnostic approaches. Medical students select one of 5 colleges during the later part of their third year based on career interests or enrollment in special programs. They're designed to strengthen career advising, improve the quality and selection of electives, provide a means of honing clinical skills, and stimulate discussion of new findings in the basic, social, and clinical sciences relevant to the future practice of medicine. The grading system is a pass-fail for the preclinical years, and a 4-tier system being honors, high pass, pass, and then fail in the clinical years. UCLA School of Medicine also offers several different opportunities for research. As you can see on the slide here, there are several different summer research opportunities for students to engage in. Not only that, they take place locally, nationally, and internationally on several different topics that can include, but are certainly not limited to, topics such as clinical research for HIV and AIDS with the Global Health Research Fellowship, research in aging and geriatrics with the Medical Student Training and Aging Research Program, or research related to health policy advocacy, for example. So if you are known to travel and have a passion to learn and travel, this school, UCLA School of Medicine, is providing you with a very good opportunity to serve a medical community that is possibly underserved and gain research experience and life experience. You can also see that beyond the summer research opportunities, there are research electives. Here, students are required to have 30 weeks of electives throughout the curriculum. 24 weeks are required to be clinical, and for the remaining 6 weeks, many students do engage in research activities according to whatever they choose or whatever they are interested in. So let's move on and talk about the graduation competencies. These are skills and knowledge that UCLA School of Medicine wants you to have upon graduation. Therefore, again, when you're doing your applications, it might be beneficial for you to highlight how you have engaged in, let's say, patient care, or to somehow highlight your medical knowledge and practice-based learning, for example. So let's take a moment to talk about what all these competencies mean. So patient care is compassionate, appropriate, and effective treatment for the patients. It's also the promotion of health for patients and the patients' families. Medical knowledge is established and evolving biomedical, clinical, and cognitive sciences, and the application of this knowledge to patient care. They also expect their graduates to have practice-based learning and improvement, meaning that this involves the investigation and evaluation of their own patient care, appraisal and assimilation of scientific evidence, and improvements in patient care. Next, interpersonal and communication skills that result in effective information exchange and teaming with patients, their families, and other healthcare professionals. UCLA School of Medicine wants their graduating students to also have professionalism as manifested through a commitment to carrying out professional responsibilities, adherence to ethical principles, and sensitivity to a diverse population. Lastly, they want their graduating students to know system-based practice as manifested by actions that demonstrate an awareness of and responsiveness to the larger context and system of healthcare, and the ability to effectively call on system resources to provide care that is of optimal value. Let's look at some admissions statistics here. Okay, so take a moment and look at the chart. So we can see that there are a heavy demand, or there are a lot of students who would like to attend UCLA School of Medicine. It is a very competitive school. For example, in this admission year, there were over 10,000 applicants, okay, and only 175 matriculated. So you want to be prepared knowing that this is a very competitive program, and so getting your applications started and starting to think about your applications as early as you can will be beneficial to you. So this school, the David Geffen School of Medicine, does not have an early decision program. And you can see here that the school also accepts applicants from out of state. They do accept applicants from Canada, and they do accept applicants from international applicants. Okay, there's no preference given to state residents. However, many applicants do come from California. Okay, acceptees from California are more likely to matriculate at UCLA. Okay, let's take a moment and talk about reapplication. Okay, so as you can see, it is very competitive to get into this school, and so you might need to try another year. So students who are not successful in gaining admissions to this medical school, they may submit a second application. Okay. UCLA School of Medicine does prefer that if you're not accepted in the first year and you're going to try again, that you remain in an academic environment, either in a graduate program or doing remedial work in areas of weakness. And then you should also have 2 letters of recommendation from associates during this period. Now, a student is discouraged from applying for a third time. Okay, according to the people or the students who matriculated, the average age of matriculants is 23 years old. Now, David Geffen encourages people of all ages who have demonstrated exceptional motivation and academic achievement. For example, for these statistics, number of men to women is pretty similar, being 81 to 94. 13% of the people who were matriculated had graduate degrees. 100% had bachelorette degrees. 69% of people had undergrads with science or math majors. Okay, so this gives you some information about the type of people who have been accepted in the past. Looking back at what to do to get your application ready to be successful, based on people who have been accepted in the past, 73% had volunteer work that was not related to medical or clinical. 89% of the people accepted had volunteer activity related to medicine or clinical work. 2% had military service. 35% had paid experience in medicine or clinical work. And 68% had experience shadowing or doing clinical observations. Note that 95% of accepted applicants had research or laboratory experience. This is rather high, and it also goes back to the fact that UCLA School of Medicine has quite a few of those summer research opportunities and the research blocks that were presented prior to or a few slides back. Now let's talk about the MCAT and GPA scores. In previous years, the overall GPA, the median that was accepted, was 3.89. So this information is very important for you to know because it gives you a ballpark of what you need to achieve. It gives you an idea of whether you should apply to this school and how competitive you can be. Okay. It's recommended that all potential applicants do take the MCAT or the medical college admission test in the spring, but regardless, it must be taken no later than September of the year preceding admissions to the School of Medicine. Okay. If you take more than one MCAT, all test scores that are reported in your all test scores are reported in your application. Okay. Now, because of the change in MCAT, beginning with the 2016 application year, both the old MCAT and the 2015 MCAT would be accepted. After January of 2018, the old MCAT is expiring, so only the 2015 MCAT will be acceptable. So that is something for you to keep in mind, depending on where in the application stage you are. Okay, so please remember that after January 2018, the old MCAT will no longer be accepted. Okay. Now, in the past here, so according to the old MCAT, people who were matriculated, they had a median total score of 33, with a verbal reasoning median of 10, physical science median of 11, and biological science median of 11. The data provided to date for the new MCAT, the new 2015 MCAT, is as follows. So people who were applying to UCLA School of Medicine, lower quartile were those with scores of 497, medians of 504, and the upper quartile of applicants had scores of 511 or above. So as you can see here, the scores out of an average were higher than the national applicants. Okay, so again, UCLA School of Medicine is very competitive. So to kind of ensure yourself or put all your best foot forward, you want to have scores that are up in the upper quartile, and according to here, should have scores above 511. Now let's look at some prerequisites to get into UCLA School of Medicine. Okay, you need to know the prerequisites so that way you don't come to the application process and realize that you're short a course or two. Okay, so this is very important when it comes to planning ahead, especially during as early as you can in your undergraduate career. So the admission requirements are satisfied by the following courses. English, okay, 1 year of college English to include the study of English composition, physics with equivalent lab, chemistry, okay, 2 years of college chemistry to include the study of inorganic chemistry, quantitative analysis, and organic chemistry with equivalent of a lab, biology, mathematics to include the study of calculus and statistics. Spanish is also highly recommended. The humanities are highly recommended as well. So courses overlapping in subject matter, for example, human anatomy, with those in the School of Medicine are not recommended. However, basic or advanced courses in biological science are desirable. Okay. So students, you must complete all pre-medical requirements prior to matriculation, but not all requirements need to be completed at the time of application for admissions. Also, please note that AP credits will not be accepted for completion of required courses. Okay. Let's talk about the big picture of your applications. So candidates are selected based on the following considerations: your undergraduate record, your MCAT, your multiple mini interview with members of the admissions committee, letters of recommendation. So you need 3 to 5 letters of recommendation, which will be requested after an initial review. Then your graduate record, if it's applicable, and life experiences, being research, volunteer, work activity, and extracurricular activities, for example. It's also very important that you are well aware of deadlines. The last thing you want to do is miss a very important deadline. Okay? So prior to submitting your application, you must request that a complete set of official transcripts is forwarded directly to MCAS by the registrar office of the schools you have attended. Official transcripts are not required for work you have taken in previous terms. Okay, so your applications will actually not be processed until official transcripts are received by MCAS. All right. So the earliest dates, well, I should take back a step here. So the primary application is completed through MCAS. Okay, so the earliest date where it opens is June 1st. And the latest date to have your primary application is around October 17th. After that, supplementals and letters will be requested after an initial application review. Okay, so the earliest date you can receive a supplemental application is in August, and the latest will be in February. Please note that once you have received your supplemental request and your letters of recommendation, you have a deadline of 45 days to complete the information and complete the requested supplemental and letters. Okay, so you only have 45 days from the date that you are invited for the supplemental application and letters. All right, so the deadline for the medical scientist training program, if that's something you're interested in, being the MD PhD program, is December 1st. Okay? And then interviews are granted between September and March, and they're also conducted between September and March. So anywhere between September and March, you can be asked for an interview and have your interview. And the earliest acceptance notices are sent out in mid-January, being January 15th, and the latest date is until whenever the class is filled. Now, I mentioned here a few moments ago that if you're receiving an interview, you will go through a multiple mini interview. Okay, so on the basis of a thorough and comparative evaluation of the MCAT application, supplemental information, and letters of recommendation, you can receive either a request to attend a multiple mini interview. So all applicants who receive a request to attend the multiple mini interview session are expected to go to UCLA for the interview, and you are responsible for your own travel arrangements and expenses. So please be aware of this as you are planning your applications, so that way you can set aside the funds necessary to travel to and from the schools of your choice. Okay, let's talk about the cost of attendance. So as we can see here, it does get pretty pricey. The average graduate indebtedness from UCLA School of Medicine is $117,000 approximately. However, 90% of students do receive financial aid. And one thing that is also very unique and promising about UCLA School of Medicine is that there are scholarships. There are merit-based scholarships. For example, the David Geffen Medical Scholarships cover the entire cost of education for up to 33 medical students per year. There's also the Our Leaders of Tomorrow Scholars Program that pays full tuition for 16 outstanding students, as well as a research stipend of $5,000. So it's quite possible that you can be one of these 33 or 16 students who are granted the entire cost of your education or the full tuition. So if you want to be very competitive, this is something that you might be interested in, which is applying to these merit-based scholarships. If you're interested, here's the contact information for the school. And lastly, thank you very much for watching. But of course, there's so much more to consider when it comes to your application. And if you like to learn how we can help you make your application stand out, ace your CASPER tests, master your multiple mini interviews, and ultimately get into your preferred medical school, click on the link below to schedule your free consultation today, or simply email us at info@bemoacademicconsulting.com or call us toll-free at 1-855-900-BeMo. Thank you very much.